Welcome to Bass Habits episode number 78. Thrash metal is back on the menu. Today we're gonna talk about Frank Bello of Anthrax. Anthrax were one of the first thrash metal bands to emerge from the East Coast in the early 80s. They're considered one of the leaders of this musical current and they're part of the big four of the genre, along with Metallica, Megadeth and Slayer. The main building block of thrash metal consists of heavily distorted guitar riffs based on 8 or 16 notes, with a large use of the open E string, with drums blasting away and the bass guitar pretty much doubling the guitar part when possible. So just for fun, let's compare a snippet of a song of each of the big four, paying attention to what the bass does. Way different textures, right? We went from having no bass, to having a little bass, to having some bass, to having bass. And in this case, it's all about the tone. Bello's standout tone is one of the elements that tell Anthrax apart from all the other bands of the scene, and it's quite an anomaly in thrash metal, where the bass mainly provides the low ends to back up the guitars, and it's often buried in the mix. It also brings sort of a punk edge and a little party element to the music of Anthrax, contributing to make them sound a little brighter and slightly happier than the other thrash metal groups. So how does that work? First of all, let's talk gear. In the early days of Anthrax, Bello used an ESP Precision style bass. Sometimes during the late 80s he switched to an ESP Surveyor P bass. He began using Fender basses during the beginning of the 90s and pretty much stuck with that. P-style basses are quite unusual in thrash metal for a number of reasons. First of all, they tend to be passive basses with a lot of mid-range. Thrash metal bands normally use active basses like Spector or Jackson, which have a more round tone with a lot of lows and trebles that work around the guitar frequencies. Second, due to their mechanics, they're way harder to play. The P bass especially has normally a bigger fingerboard radius, which makes it kinda hard to use to play very fast parts. Another anomaly is that Bello plays almost exclusively with his fingers, while all the other three bass players of the Big Four, for example, use a pick. Regarding Bello's right-hand technique, it can be somehow compared to another famous metal finger player, Steve Harris of Iron Maiden. The way they smack the strings round right over the pickup with absolute precision makes them, together with Cliff Burton, the most effective finger players in the classic metal age. The final outcome is what gives Anthrax their trademark texture. It might sound a bit sloppy when taken out of context, especially compared to David Ellefson's surgical precision. But in the mix, it works just great and brings a raw angle to the music of Anthrax that no other band of the scene has. From a songwriting standpoint, there's not a lot to say. The music of Anthrax revolves almost exclusively around guitar riffs, and it's very rare to hear the bass move away from the grid, so it's kinda hard to pinpoint Bello's writing features. Still, he manages to pull off some really cool bass moments. Notable are the glorious pentatonic intro of Caught in a Mosh, and the opening riff of Got the Time, where Bello uses a plectrum. To build his favorite licks, Bello uses mainly two intervals, root and fourth and root and fifth, both played on the higher part of the neck, an octave apart from the ongoing guitar riff. Frank Bello is a fantastic player who can keep up with some very fast and articulated riffs, and his tone and the great energy he brings on stage, in my opinion, are the key element that sets Anthrax apart from all the other thrash metal bands. Thank you very much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment and follow me on Instagram for more.